What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. This video is a follow-up from my video where I asked the Native Black Americans, the so-called Native Black Americans, a series of questions, right? And I told them that they had the floor and that they were allowed to, answer some of these questions. Now, when I made the video, I even said at the very beginning of the video, I'm going to take you seriously. I set the foundation for giving you a level of respect that you guys don't seem to get anywhere else, or you believe that you're not getting anywhere else as far as your recognition is concerned, right? And in the comment section, you know what I got? I got exactly what I thought I was gonna get. No damn answers. All right. I asked a series of basic questions. You know what I'm getting in the comment section? Why don't you do your own research? Why you asking us, right? Or here I get a question with a question. You can't answer that question yourself. Or they ask a question with a question. Well, tell me about your people. Tell me about your history, because they can't answer the question. Now, when people ask me that, I just laugh, because I'm like, my whole entire channel is answering all those questions. My entire channel answers all of those questions. I have thousands upon thousands of videos all answering those questions. If you watch my channel, I will answer where I come from. I will tell you what tribes my people come from. I will tell you what foods we eat traditionally and how far it goes back. I will tell you about the dances that we had and how far it goes back. I will tell you about the languages that we speak and how far it goes back. I'll tell you all. It's really easy. Like, the information is, this is first grade stuff. And if you are a pretendian and you coming on Black African people's channels and you got the energy to type in the comment section, we ain't black, and some of y'all guys will write a whole damn paragraph deflecting the fact that I'm asking you a basic question. A whole paragraph. Y'all got all that energy to write all this paragraph after paragraph of a bunch of anecdotal, non-pseudo evidence about how it is that you're somehow some Native American, right? But you can't answer a simple question like, what foods do you eat? Is that really offensive for me to ask you what kind of foods do you eat as a indigenous Black American? Is that what kind of clothes do you wear? I'm much interested to see what kind of Black and Aboriginal indigenous clothes that you guys wore and how much did that change since y'all been out of Africa, right? Like, all these, you can type in the Discovery Channel and watch the Aboriginal Australians. You can see what language they speak, right? They'll tell you their traditions, their cultures. It's something to be celebrated. Meaning, when somebody asks you something about your people, you should be more than happy to blabber on endlessly about your people that you're so proud of. That's why I can blabber every day about how great Black people are. Black people who are Africans from Africa. I can blabber all day about it because there's so much to be talked about. I'm just trying to find out, since the Native Americans, the Red Indian, have no recollection of you guys ever existing, right? Since the Polynesian, and we're talking about the North Africans, since the Polynesian inhabitants of South America don't have any recollection of you guys existing, since the Europeans, don't really have any real recollection of you guys existing, I'm trying to figure out, how is it that white people was able, listen, y'all say they destroyed your history. Listen, when white people came to Africa and destroyed us African people's whole entire nations, civilizations, cities, towns, guess what they did with it? They took all the good shit and they put it in their museums. They made movies about it and they stole the culture. That's how much they like it. They never actually deleted it. They stole it. That's what Europeans do. They steal it. They keep it for themselves. It's there to be seen. They just keep it for themselves, right? So when the Chinese, when the Europeans went to Japan and destroyed the Japanese Empire, why didn't they destroy the Japanese identity? Why do Japanese people still know about their history? When the Europeans went to Africa and destroyed almost the entire continent, why do those Africans still know their history? Huh? When the European came to North America and genocided 90% of the Western Hemisphere's native Mongoloid Indian population, why is it that they still remember? Oh, not only not annihilated them, but had an actual government program to take away the knowledge of themselves, meaning Native Americans were taught to be white. They stole their children, put them in college camps, school camps, to literally brainwash them away from their Native American heritage while simultaneously stealing their Native American heritage, right? So that's why all the rich people in those reservations are white Europeans pretending to be Native Americans, right? Still, those Native Americans, the Mongoloid Native Americans, they know, they can at least tell you some of their dances, right? And if you ask them about it, they will proudly tell you about their dances, what it means. They'll tell you about their foods, things that they cook. I mean, there's still parts of their history they remember, even though white people did everything they could to eradicate them, right? So, with all that being said, and they still, white people, make museums and they put all of that stuff in there because, you know, museums are trophy cases. Just like, you know, when white folks kill deer and they put the head on the wall, it's a trophy of their accomplishments. So these museums are trophies of their conquering accomplishments. Why didn't they do the same thing with Aboriginal Black Americans? I mean, we see Aboriginal, listen, the Aboriginals that you're talking about are all Africans who left the first wave of migrations out of Africa the first time, and they migrated during the southern portion of Asia, right? They were the original inhabitants of India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, all the southern Vietnam, all those southern Asian places. They made their way to the islands when the islands were connected to Polynesia, Australia. You can walk across there. Those are the Aboriginals, and they made their way. Those are the Aboriginal, the first Africans out of Africa who've been gone so long. They're genetically diverse because we're all genetically diverse, which is nothing wrong with that. But they are in fact the first, and they know they come from Africa, right? But I'm just trying to figure out what was the migratory pattern of your type of Aboriginal, because they would have had to make their way through southern Asia, and I guess you're assuming that they walked over with the Mongoloids, so they journeyed across southern Asia with the Mongoloids across Alaska, right, down to North America, and populated all the Western Hemisphere, but didn't encounter that same Mongoloid who were already there in that hemisphere and migrated over there. They didn't encounter none of them. So if they didn't come that way, they must have took a ship and made their way from the west coast of Africa to the east coast of Central and South America, seeing how there are basically rivers in the ocean that will take you there without wind. I mean, there's a fact that Africans can make it to South America and back and forth without even needing wind. Just need a good boat. Now, we know we had boats. So what kind of boats were they traveling in? Right? And if they did that, wouldn't that still make them just Africans who migrated to the North Americas? That wouldn't make them indigenous, would they? I mean, if they traveled from Africa on boats, that would make them Africans, right? Who just got to the Americas before the white folk, right? I believe we did make, listen, I'm not saying we didn't make it, right? But back in the day, when populations made it to different lands, sometimes they didn't come back. Or they made colonies that didn't last long. Or they made colonies and they were absorbed into the local population, not being big enough to actually make any significant demographic change into the population. So even if Africans made it to Central and South America, even if we were trading back and forth, which I do believe we did. I'm not saying we haven't had contact. What I'm saying is not in big enough numbers, because there was no reason for a massive amount of Africans to migrate anywhere, seeing how we were already in the land of plenty. We're already in the land. We're already in the greatest, most fertile place on the planet. There's no need for any mass migration anywhere else to go on a great journey across the ocean to go where? The only reason white people do it is because where they're from, there's no resources. They literally have to go places to get resources because they don't have resources there. If they had resources where they were at, they wouldn't have the motivation to go and steal resources from other places. Basic. That's basic. So how did those Aboriginal, like, how did they get there? Since you guys been here for 1,000 years, don't give me that damn Pangea shit. Like, when I hear you guys say they will connect, do you realize that you got your history messed up? See, that's how I know none of y'all paid attention in school. Because if you knew anything, when the continents were connected, we're talking about hundreds of millions of years ago. There were dinosaurs, okay? Dinosaurs. This is before the dinosaurs. We're talking about deep history. We're talking about hundreds of millions of years. Humans have only been here for a few million years. A few million years. Not hundreds of millions of years. All right? Not hundreds of millions of years. You want to know why there's no bears in Africa? All right? Because there was no bears in Africa, but there are dogs everywhere. All right? You know the reason why there's no bears in Africa? Because the bear dog, which was the animal that both the bear and the dog come from because they have a common ancestor, when they were in Africa, when the place split up, guess what? The bear went one way and the dog went another way. There's no bear dogs in North America. There's no bear dog. The bear dogs was in Africa, right? And they split when they evolved and they changed. One became bear, grizzly bears, and all this stuff went up and populated Europe and all that stuff. And the other one became dogs and wolves and shit like that. That's when Pangea was together. They was bear dogs, right? Hundreds of millions of years ago. All right, not a few years ago where you guys all mixed up. Y'all got your history so mixed up. Y'all think that 100 million years ago, we rode Brontosaurus and Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex across the straits and went from Africa to Asia. That's how we walked over here. Huh? That's how stupid a lot of you guys sound. And y'all in my comment section sounding just retarded, upset, mad, offended that I had the nerve to ask a basic question you would ask anybody else. And try to deflect and say, answer the question. I can sit there all day and answer every one of those questions. Any African American that actually paid attention in school, the basic information that we are given, could answer all those questions. But it's very showing that none of you pretendians can answer a simple question about what kind of foods do you eat? Because you're so proud of your Native American heritage, right? You're so proud of your indigenous heritage, but can't say one goddamn thing about it. That says a lot about you and your mentality and how much you hate yourself. Because all of you guys know you're Africans. Just because your grandmama told you that she was part Indian and that's the only evidence you need, your grandmama was part white. Most of y'all grandmamas was part white. That's what it is. That's why her hair was straight. Because she was part white. Because your great-grandmama got taken advantage of by a white person. And it's the shame within the community of having to admit that. That's why a lot of you guys think that your grandmama was freaking half Indian. Because first of all, none of y'all even educated on what an African look like. I can go to Nigeria and show you that same face with that same hair in Nigeria. It can't get no blacker than that. Y'all don't know what Africans look like. Your grandmama looks like an African. Straight hair. Certain features. Hippocampus eyes are African, not Asian. They got that from us. So anything you see and you trying to equate with another race, you just don't understand that those are African features that other races have. Like me, I look like Igbo. My DNA genetics, I'm mostly Igbo and Yoruba and Mali, right? And I have Sankoi, also the Sankoi Southern African. That's why I look this way. But you look at me, you say maybe he's mixed with Asian. A lot of Asians think that I'm Asian, but I'm not. I'm African. You guys look like me. And it's sad because there are black people in this country that are part Native American in real life and black. And they embrace both their Native American heritage and their black heritage. But they get drowned out by all you self-hating Africans that ain't got a lick of Native American in you, yet you claiming something and you're afraid to do a DNA test to find out the truth. Because you know DNA is going to cut through all them goddamn lies you like to make up. And it's funny, you listen to these idiots on YouTube who will make you pay $75 for a genealogy report that they in their home going on Ancestry.com, typing in your information from the same websites that you say you don't trust because they do DNA. But I guarantee you, if any of you, and most of y'all Pookie and Ray Rays, I guarantee you, if you a dude and some girl said that that's your baby and you say it ain't, you're going to want a DNA test to find out whether it's not. You're going to believe that shit didn't, ain't you? Nah? And if you say DNA don't work, tell me that DNA don't work to all those black people that got released out of jail when DNA evidence proved that they in fact did not grape that white woman. Go ahead and tell me DNA don't work. We sent a rocket to a fucking asteroid and we got samples and brought it back to America. We got technology on goddamn Mars and we're scooping samples out on a different planet right now. We have cell phones that magically send signals all across the world in almost like light speed, and we talk on this technology. You think we're not smart enough to do DNA? DNA is a big molecule compared to a lot of other molecules. We're figuring out string theory and quantum physics and how that works. That's where we at now. We're past the big ass molecule of DNA and what the hell that means. We're in quantum physics right now. We're trying to make cold fusion right now. We're past all that shit technologically. That's like old news. Y'all talking about that shit ain't real. Because it's very convenient for it not to be real in order for you to remain dumb, ignorant, and passive in your fantasies about being anything other than the black person that you are. Other than being the African that you are. Other than being proud of the history that you have in an African. You rather have the history of a slave or of a fictitious indigenous group of people that have never existed that must be so fucking weak as a group of a culture that they allow white people to come and eviscerate and genocide all knowledge of them to the point to where nobody, absolutely nobody remembers your existence. Nothing. All this great society you say exists, we can't see no buildings, no structure, no culture, no music, no language connection to any other language, nothing. There's absolutely nothing existent in this fictitious fantasy that you guys created to make yourselves feel good because you so weak because the white man done told you for years you ain't shit because you African. So you running away from that, looking just as stupid as a stupid person can look. Coming in my comments. I gave y'all a chance. And y'all look just as stupid in the comment section as y'all always have. The biggest clowns on the planet. It's a shame to see black people being ashamed of who they are. That's a shame. You should be ashamed. And I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for you. Because you're a clown. All of you guys are clowns. And you making all the real Native American and black mixed cultural people look bad because they're drowning behind you. Because no one can see them because of you. They don't get the praise that they deserve. They don't get the recognition that they deserve because of most of you Negroes who are stealing their true identity, who's moneying up the water so that when a real Native American and black person comes and talk about his culture and history, everybody equates them with you weird pretendians. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. I knew this was going to happen in the comment section. Now, thank you to all the real Native American and blacks who did come in the comment section and like adults could actually answer a question or two, because there are a few of you in there, and I just want to let you know I see you and I recognize you, and I recognize you, and you are my brother. If you're a part Native American and you're a part African and you embrace both sides, you and I understand that Native Americans and Africans have a kinship. It's easy to mix the two cultures up because there is a ancient kinship between the two. There are some ancient similarities in our culture, right? That you guys have been for years trying to highlight and show the connection between the two, right? And the interaction between the two that did happen, right? And I'm sorry that you have to be mixed up with all these self-hating, straight West African, Central African black people who want to attach themselves to something fictitious and muddying up the water so nobody can see you. So I see you. I'm just letting you know I see you. But for the rest of you pretendians, you guys did exactly what I thought you did. And everybody in the comment section knows and they're calling you out. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.